Hey, Talks Dear, Luke here, and this is a 2004 Ford Fusion that I bought for just £180. And because it's raining, I'm going to do the rest of the review inside the car. Oh dear, I just seen a 3.2 litre Audi A8 with a W12 badge on the front. That's as bad as those BMW 520d M5s you see in the sport trim SE. The Ford Fusion is a car that I've always wanted, said no one ever. So have I gone mad buying this thing? Well, I'll let you know, but considering it's got an MOT, it runs with no major faults, 180 quid, it's got to be worth it all day long, hasn't it? So what did I get for £180? Well, we got a 1.4 litre diesel engine up front, producing something around 80 brake horsepower and a 0 to 60 time up, I don't care, and around 60 miles per gallon. But it's a reliable engine. It does, like I said, great fuel economy, and quite crucially in this country, £30 a year to tax, so it's just nice and cheap to run and nice and cheap to insure. Now, I'm not keeping this car by any means, because if I just want a cheap runaround, I've got the old Astra there, which is going to be my car that can get beat up and taken to the tip and dump runs and all that type of stuff. So there really is no need for this Fusion. Now, the reason I bought this car anyway for this price was the fact a friend was selling it and he liked the car. There was nothing wrong with it really while he was getting rid of it. He just had a good offer on another car that came along, and he didn't want to see this thing go into the scrapyard. So I thought I might as well take the car, do a couple of jobs to it, sell the car back on, and at least hopefully it can be some reliable transportation for someone for the next few years to come. Because these cars are good for high miles. This one's on 167,000, and my mum used to have a Fiesta that this thing was based on, the Mark 6 Fiesta with the same engine up front. That was on 197, that was still going pretty well. And we even had a Fiesta van that had done 344,000 miles, a 13-plate van with the same engine up front. So, you know, we know this thing can go for a decent amount of miles. It's always had its oil changes, and for that reason the engine is actually quite smooth, at least when it's idling. That's the one thing that's really nice about this car. When it idles, you can barely feel it on. In fact, if I've got the radio on, I have to look down to the speedo to make sure that the rev counter is actually not on zero, because it's that smooth when it's stopped. And I'm talking like comparing this to newer petrol cars, comparing this to my Audi A4 I've got at the moment. This is smoother on idle. Unfortunately, that's not the case when you get this thing up to speed. That engine is not smooth by design once it's moving, and up to any type of speed at all. It's noisy, it's unrefined, and that's inherently where this engine's strength lies. It's not trying to be super powerful, it's not trying to be really refined and petrol-like, it's just a good, reliable, agricultural diesel engine. And in cars like this, that's the type of diesel engine you want. There's nothing too advanced about it. I mean, what faults have we got on this thing? Well, the windows don't work on the driver's side, and I think that's something to do with the wiring loom. Passenger side window will work if you push the button. The blowers are very noisy. Listen to this. So something needs getting to down there, which is almost unbearable to live with, but we kind of need it to clear the windows in this type of weather. So if you heard dead budgie for the rest of this video, that is because the blowers are absolutely crap. We have a decent amount of equipment. We've got a heated front windscreen, which kind of works. Electric mirrors both sides, air conditioning, which I'm not too sure whether it works or not because the weather's too cold to tell. And yeah, you know, CD player, and that's about it. Everything you need. Remote central lock-in, for pretty much nothing you don't. Fusion time. So the Ford Fusion debuted, I think, around 2002, and it was based on the Mark 6 Ford Fiesta. Unlike the Fiesta, the Fusion was jacked up, given quite a lot more interior space. That's definitely its biggest advantage over the Fiesta, is how much space this thing has. And people really did not know what to make of this car when it came out. Was it meant to be an SUV? Was it meant to be a Super Mini? In retrospect, this thing was a crossover before crossovers were a thing. And I realised recently why it's called Fusion, because it's fusing two separate things together. Oh, we do have a coolant leak up front as well. We seem to have to top the water up every single week because it's leaking out of somewhere, so I need to find what the cause of that is. I'm hoping just a crack in the expansion tank or something, which at least that's what my friends told me it was. Doesn't seem to be too big of a deal at the moment, but I can't sell a car on with that leak there. Just wouldn't be right to, would it? We need a new door on our side. It's got a dent in it. And we also could do replacing some trim panels on the side. They're quite easy and cheap to replace. And we need some new tyres, so I'm going to probably try and find a new set of alloys off an old Focus or something with half decent tyres on, just to keep costs down and make it look a little bit better. Need to fix that fan, which might just be a bearing gone or something. I'm assuming Fiesta's got to have the same thing in, so again, another scrapyard job. There shouldn't be anything too expensive we need to fix on this thing. There's going to be plenty of Fiestas in the scrapyard to pull bits off. Unfortunately, Ford did not do a very good job of the styling. This thing is, quite frankly, damn ugly. Probably one of the worst cars coming out of modern times I've looked at. Which, given that this was based on the Mark 6 Fiesta, which I think was actually a pretty good looking car at the time, it's kind of a mystery how Ford got the styling so bad, and I think that's the reason this car just didn't do well at all. It was that bad it killed off its own nameplate in one generation in Europe. Now, I know some US viewers are probably watching this and thinking, this isn't a Fusion. A Fusion looks a bit like a Taurus or a Mondeo. Yeah, you've got a different Fusion to what we have. I'd much rather have yours. And the one thing that strikes me about this car is how noisy, big puddle, how noisy this car is. There's so much road noise, so much engine noise, that quite frankly I've not been in any new car that sounds anything near as noisy as this. Now, I'm not trying to hate on the Fusion. It's not my style of car, it's not my cup of tea. And that doesn't make it a bad car in its own right. It's just not something I'd go out and buy. So what I really need to do in this video, in the upcoming videos, is put myself in the mind of a Ford Fusion owner. You know, the person who's actually going to buy this car. The person who buys this car doesn't want a car that's sexy. They don't want a car that's quick, that's a driver's car. They want something that's cheap, reliable, practical, and that gives it, the Fusion gives out in spades. For that reason, and by that definition, this is a good car. But it just does not drive anywhere near as good as the Fiesta it's based on. The Mark 6 Fiesta felt like a little go-kart. The main takeaway from the Mark 6 Fiesta was its handling, and this is just wallowy. With Fords tend to have a little bit of a quicker steering rack than other cars, or at least it feels like, and they have a nice sharp turning. It's not the case with the jacked up suspension on the Fusion. It does suffer from that. However, its ride quality is not too bad. It's got fat tyres, it's got a bit of suspension travel, so in those respects you can forgive the lack of handling for a bit more practicality in that sense. And you know, to the type of person who's going to buy this car, that's probably going to be preferred. Another thing is the tyres on this thing are pretty much bald, so it's they're very close to the legal limits, and I'm driving this in bad weather. In fact, I don't want to be driving in this weather because I don't really think it's safe. But that could explain somewhat why the handling is not as good as I expected it to be. I'm not expecting it to be as good as a Fiesta any day of the week, but what's expecting to be a little bit better than it is at the moment. Driving position is good. It's nice and high. You can see why people like sitting in these things, because it's so square and boxy. There's so much headroom. You can see each corner of the car, front and back, really easily. Comparing this to my Audi A4, which is a whole 2 segments like higher in its class and size, this actually has more room in the back. If you've got like my driving position like this in the front and I'm sat in the back, there is more leg room in this than the A4. And the boot space is really good as well for this class of car. I'm struggling to find anything based on this size of car and this type of platform that's actually got more room in on this type of year. And it's really one of those key aspects that make the Fusion unique in its own right. I really like the fact it does have a flat load lip at the back, just like an estate car. So you're taking heavy, long items, you can slot them in there, and it makes it really easy to stick them in and carry stuff around. And the fact the front seat will fold forward as well if it wasn't broken, so it'll give you an extra space all the way to the front. It really is just useful to have. Me talking about the way this thing drives, it's not any snob value whatsoever. It's not me comparing this to the A4 I drive, because I know they're two totally different cars. I'm comparing this to my £80 Astra, which has done almost 300,000 miles. Comparing the two cars, the Astra drives so much better, it's so much more refined. Give me the Astra any day of the week to drive over this when it comes to cheap old cars. So let me know in the comment section below. In fact, actually no, I'm going to stick a poll on the channel. I want you to let me know, what car would you keep out of this, which is £180 with 167,000 miles on, or my 286,000 mile, £80 Vauxhall Astra. I'd be interested to see what people would actually choose out of two. I know which one I'd have. See, that's what happens. You drive a Fusion, everyone pulls out on you because they think you're going to be going 2 miles an hour. If I was in the Audi there, no one would pull out on me. It's weird the way people treat you differently depending on what car you drive. People with a Fusion have no patience, like, get out of the way, I want to overtake you. Whereas, people give you a little bit of space in the A4. Weird. Flooded road. Yeah. See, that's what feels like the Fusion is made for. Smashing through massive puddles like that, even though it's not. I'm going to give us some off-road credibility, haven't we? Because I've just got this thing stuck on the grass. So it's definitely a non-off-road in that sense, but maybe it can wade through deeper puddles in a Fiesta. There we go, that's the off-roading claim a Fusion has to a Fiesta. It can go through deeper puddles. What is it with everyone trying to pull out on this? Only thing you should pull out on is your girlfriend. Am I right? So considering this car's not my cup of tea, what am I going to be doing with it? Well, I'm not going to do anything stupid. I'm actually just going to try and fix it up a little bit and sell it back on when I'm finished, I think. You know, everyone's going on about the environment, about buying electric cars, or doing this and doing that. All I want to do at the moment, my way of helping, is just try and save something that doesn't have to be in the scrapyards with a little bit of work. I'm not even to make money on, really. It's just I have a bit of peace of mind in knowing that this is not gone to a crusher, and we haven't had the energy to build a new car to replace this at the moment. Maybe my logic's flawed, who knows? That's just my way of thinking. Oh look, Ford Fusion. Hello, sexy. What surprised me about this, they actually made this thing up to like 2012. I had like a 10-year lifespan, which I'm struggling to find though, despite it being a lot bigger than a Mark 6 Fiesta. Why you'd buy a Fusion over a Mark 7 Fiesta, which ran alongside this for like 4 years? Because the Mark 7 Fiesta is pretty big inside for its classic car, at least compared to the Mark 6 it replaced. And, you know, when they were new, I don't know what was cheaper out of this and the Fiesta, but out of the Mark 7 Fiesta and this, but I'm going to assume they're around similar prices. So anyone who bought one of these in 2010, I really cannot fathom why you would do that. Because the Mark 7 Fiesta was a fantastic little but roomy car inside. Kind of feels a bit like a car someone's granddad would drive. It's definitely a granddad's car. And the price of it is, it's a thrift shop car as well. I wear your granddad's clothes, I look incredible. I got this cheap ass coat from the thrift shop down the road. Yo, walk into the club like, what up, I got a big cock. Now I'm just pumped up on shit from the thrift shop. I drive your granddad's car. It don't go very far, because it'll only do 60 miles an hour. Ooh, another big puddle. Fusion time. Yeah. Whoa. Awesome. There we go. Fusion's greatest gift to mankind. Puddles. Hazard on the road. But there came a hazard when I was just 7. Even then, the folks in town said a prejudice dies. Yeah, boy's not right. So how about we take the profits off this car plus the initial purchase price, take out any cost of fixing it, but we take that final figure, and how about we go and buy another car to do up on the channel from now, make a bit more profit, and let's see where we end up with, like, a year down the line. Do we end up with something decent that's worth a few grand, or are we still beating around in £200 knackers? Let us know if you'd like to see something like that below in the comment section. People are definitely going to start comparing me to Hubie, aren't they? Hey, I bought the cheapest Audi A4 in the country. I bought the cheapest Ford Fusion in the country. I've got the cheapest Vauxhall Astra in the country. But he has a Lamborghini. Maybe I could work my way up to Lamborghini. Unlikely, but maybe. So I'm a little bit bored driving this at the moment, so I'm going to head home. But if you want to see the clean on this car, me fixing some shit on it, just hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon to be alerted when our video drops in the future. If not, why not check out my other channel where I've just bought the cheapest iMac 27-inch 2017 model in the UK. Following a trend here, not just in my cars, I do in my computers and everything else. Go and check that out on my other channel. I'll leave a link in the description below. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Until next time, take care and see you soon.